I'm going to ask the members of the committee to please introduce yourselves. My name is Lorraine Botha, and I'm the chairperson for this committee. I see the SG has joined. Good afternoon, SG.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon,
members,
Chairperson.
I'm giving you yes, thank you. Let's start with you, then. Thank you.
Gillian Postman.
Good afternoon, Chairperson.
Sorry, you can go ahead, Member Allen.
Thank you so much on this Friday. Good afternoon, Chairperson and officials, HOD and the Minister. I'm Regan Allen.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. I'm Khalid Sayed.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and the Minister, Masuli Kama.
Good afternoon, Chair. Ferlin Christians.
Good afternoon, Chair. Ricardo Mackenzie.
I take it then that there are no other members in this committee. I'm going to give over to the department and the Minister for introduction.
Right, Chairperson, Debbie Schaefer, Minister of Education, Western Cape.
And good afternoon, I'm Brian Schroeder, HOD in the Western Cape, and my colleagues will introduce themselves quickly, please, Chair.
Good afternoon, Chair. It's Leon Eli here, the CFO for Education. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Sally Abrams, DDG Education Planning.
Good afternoon, Chair. Peter Beets, DDG Curriculum and Assessment Management.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Erna Veldman, Chief Director, Financial Management.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And with us, we have our Procedural Officer, Wasima Hassan Musa, and then our Senior Procedural Officer, who is Mr. Ben Daza. I saw Mr. Lewis just joined us. Mr. Lewis, you can introduce quickly.
I'm Archie Lewis, DDG for Institutional Development and Coordination. Thank you, Chair and members of the committee.
Thank you very much.
Conrad, Director Business Strategy. I've joined as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Conrad. Good afternoon. Members, we are here today. Our meeting is to do the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation COVID-19 Bill 2020 and 2021 financial year B4 of 2020. That is a mouthful for Vote 5 Education. I want to ask in terms of the cardinal rules of WCPP online conferencing that everybody on this platform, please mute yourselves now. And then please use the chat function bar if you want to raise points of order. There is also a raise your hand function if you have that. And then members, when you talk and all the participants, please identify yourselves. And then also I want to ask that you have the option of using your video and your mic when you are speaking. So you may use both. I don't use it because I'm just concerned that it might infringe on the quality of this recording, so therefore I do not use it. I also want to take this opportunity of welcoming our guests and media, if there are guests and media and members of the public on this platform, so please be welcome, members. We are going to talk the appropriation for Vote 5 Education, and we are going to handle from pages 65, and I'm going to go up until page 84. 70 to 84 is the annexures, if you want to pose your questions regarding that. And then 65 to 69 speaks to the appropriation. Before we get there, I want to put the request to the Minister. Minister, if you want to do some introductory remarks, and also the SG, if you want to join after the Minister, please do so. And then members, we only have an hour for this meeting. So I would love to be through the question and answer session by 3 o'clock so that we can have the last 15 minutes to do our administrative tasks within the committee as pertaining to the appropriation bill that we have handled in this afternoon. Minister, with that said, I give over to you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Chairperson and committee members. I, as usual, when we come to matters of budget in education, it's never a good news meeting. The COVID crisis has really put a huge amount of pressure on a system that was already under really difficult pressures as it is. You heard yesterday that we had been allocated some money for school feeding, given that we were told we were not allowed to use the NSNP. And we were vindicated in a court case which went against every other province and the National Department for not feeding children during lockdown when they desperately needed it. And the Department of Social Development nationally was simply not doing their job. In fact, SASA closed their offices during the lockdown. So that is great, but other than that, we have really any money that's being taken away to provide for the COVID crisis is taken away from our existing budget. We haven't been allocated any more of that from any other source, the national government in particular, who were announcing all these billions, hundreds of billions of rand packages. Sorry, billions, not tens of billions, not hundreds of billions. So it's really putting inordinate pressure on us. A lot of money has had to be diverted once again from infrastructure to COVID, sanitizing fluids and masks and so on. So unfortunately, it's going to put yet more pressure on our system, particularly infrastructure. But I would rather hand over for the details to my HOD and his team to go through the specifics. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, SG. Yes, sure, please.
Thank you. Just by way of introduction, the details our finance officials will be able to speak to, and then of course we'll answer any particular questions that come up. The point is that as you know now, that there is a reduction of 151 million to our budget. It's theoretically small in the context of our budget, but it has quite an impact because that reduction of budget, which largely is intended to be taken away to help, I suppose, the health epidemic. That's why we have this first adjustment done so early in the year. Yeah. Now, the reduction of that amount, just if I can say, is principally from the education infrastructure development grant, 159 million. There's a little bit added and a bit taken away. So in all effect, the conditional grants are the issues that have been significantly deducted. And as you know, the conditional grants are national grants. So it's not been in our control to be able to do so. And those conditional grants particularly are affected. We've taken a little bit away from education and a little bit from public ordinary school, but it's minor. It's minor. The principal bit has been infrastructure grants. So I'm going to just say that that's the context of where we are. And of course, it has impact on infrastructure planning. It has the impact on the way we go forward. I'm actually more concerned about the second adjustment budget and what that impact will have on us, given the potential signs for huge challenges. Education needs more, not less. And I've said this frequently. It needs more not because we gluttonous and waste. It needs more because we are expanding and we're not able to keep up with those, and everything just goes the wrong way. I just want to say that, Chair, as by way of introduction, I'm sure the members have had that already. Thank you.
Thank you very much, SG, Minister, members. As I indicated to you, I'm going to table now from pages 65 to 69, that is the budget, and then you can speak to the annexures from 70 to 84, so you can refer to that in your question that you ask. I'm going to please ask you to keep your motivation short. Met ander woorde, jou aanloop tot jou vraag, hou dit asseblief kort, so that we can hear your question and so that we all can have a fair chance of asking a question and also give fair opportunity to the department to respond to the question. So with that said, members, I'm giving you all an opportunity to pose one question. No questions? Member Said?
Chair, thank you very much. Chair, I just wanted to get a sense in terms of the resources for the building of more classrooms. I just wanted to get a sense, does the budget speak to that? Thank you.
Thank you. Member Said, short and sweet. Member Allen?
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I wish to commend, obviously, the department on the feeding scheme, but my question is around page number 69 regarding the reduction of a little over 5 million in terms of mathematics, science and technology grant. If the department is able to provide any information, thoughts around it, if there's a plan or measures in place to ensure that this reduction obviously doesn't negatively affect students moving forward. Only one question. So sorry. Thank you. That's the one then.
Thank you. Member Kama, if there's opportunity, you'll get another round. Member Kama.
Thank
you. Thank you very much, Chair. My question is linked to, I think, what Member Said has asked, because in addition to the education infrastructure grant that has been drastically reduced, the department has also taken away, I think, an amount of about 184 million rand. So I want to really ask Chair as to how will this affect our infrastructure development plan, because if you look in the other charts on page 50, I mean 80, you see many as to projects that are deferred as to their start date. So I really want to get that clarity. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. I just want to ask on page 69, SG or Mr. Eli, in regard to the 310 million set aside for PPE, what of that money has now already been spent? And has, let's park it for there. If I have a follow-up, I'll do that. Thank you very much, SG.
I'm going to ask Dr. Beets if he wishes to comment on the math, science and technology reduction. Just to say that the short question from Member Said, is there money for building more rooms? The answer is no, short and sweet, because money is taken away. And because money is taken away, we actually are in trouble. I'll expand on that just and ask Charlie Abrams, if yes, he will be back now already. Charlie Abrams, just to expand a little bit also on Member Karma's question about the challenges we face with infrastructure delivery, because it's the one that's at the moment impacted most. So I'll ask him. Just to say, Chair, in the context of your question, the 310 million has all been spent. In fact, it's been spent more than that already. And when we had the conversation around the adjustment budget, we pointed out that we we're probably in our estimations going to need R1 billion in the COVID space. And the reason for that was that the 310 is gone. We in the region of, I think, have spent about 420 or 430 million in total already for the health and safety issues in schools. That excludes the need for additional teachers and teaching assistants for teachers with comorbidities and teachers falling ill. We'll cover some of that, of course, with our basket of posts. But when we engage with the Treasury on that matter, they did say, well, we'll look at that in the second adjustment budget. But we will be in trouble in that space. So if I can just ask, first of all, Dr. Beets, if he wishes to respond to the relatively small, I mean, it's a small amount, the MST conditional grant budget. What are we giving up, Peter, to accommodate that? And then I'll ask Mr. Abrams to speak a little bit more about the challenges around infrastructure. Peter?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members. In connection with the question, yes, the cut that we have is a 14.3% cut. And we had a serious relook at our outputs from that conditional grant. And what we have decided to do was where we had direct learner support, as well also teacher professional development. On those two outputs, because of COVID-19 and the requirement, social distancing, and the so what we did was to reprioritize of the budget that the approved allocation. We have reduced that. And what we are now doing is we are putting that reprioritize of that funding for those two outputs more towards workshop equipment and machinery, as well as laboratories and equipment and apparatus, to also support on that side, because once we over this, then at least we have made the investment, and we think that is a better way of investing and ensuring that we use all the funding that is given in the grant was. Thank you.
Mr. Abrams?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, honourable members. On the first question, to perhaps just slightly elaborate, the building of classrooms is probably in the order of priority, the category of infrastructure development that would be most impacted in the context of this 27% overall cut to the 2021 budget. And so that, more than a no, I think the short-term implication of us not being able to expand capacity is also complicated by a review on whether mobile classrooms, given the climate change and the devastating weather conditions we have, whether that mechanism is an appropriate and sustainable one. So the expansion of classrooms, whilst we think it's necessary in the context of our pressures we face year on year, it's probably the item that's going to be impacted most. As regards the question to, allow me just to say then that almost on a critical as needed basis in Metro East, that would probably be the exception to expand classroom access given the service delivery pressure, but by and large the budget is not able to accommodate that particular category. On deferred projects, honourable members, the context here is that the volatility of infrastructure budget allocation is probably more impactful than a one-time cut. The projects that we are completing in this year are the projects that have been in flight over the last few years, and so in construction we will protect those and complete those. We will additionally shift monies to emergency and corrective maintenance to deal with the pandemic requirements for health and safety and expansion of space, but also to deal with climate change, and more recently the sharp upturn in vandalism and damage caused, intentional damage. We need to make provision in our very limited budget for that as well. So that's a double impact, if you like, not just a cut of budget, but also unanticipated demand. So the deferred projects is a signal that it's not just a one-time cut that will impact whether new and replacement school projects are going to proceed in the year and years ahead. As the SG had said earlier, the adjustment budget later on this year and the future budgets for next year and the year after will have us make more firmer decisions on whether those projects stop or start. But I did want to signal that we have no intent to cut those. We know the new schools are desperately needed, but the short-term implication is we just can't fit it in, and so we'll defer that to next year when more clarity is available. Thank you.
Okay, members, that is your round of questions. I will take a second round. No? SG, I just wanted to know, in regard to the monies that we have now spent, or the department has spent on PPE, and in the light of our schools now closing for at least 4 weeks, what are the safety measures that have been put in place to secure the PPE that are stored at our schools? Especially in the light of the breaking in of schools that we have had, and also in regard to what we have read and what we hear, from the media, that substance abusers are now allegedly using the sanitizer as a substance to keep them going. I just want to check. What is the safety measures that has been put in place for that during this closure of schools? And has all our schools now received all the PPE equipment? Thank you. And I noted now Member Sayed and Member Kama. And Member Allen. Member Sayed, I'm starting with you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Chair, I don't want to get much into this discussion, but I thought, given that it could have budgetary implications and impact, there's been a lot of disappointment on the part, or I've noted some disappointment on the part of parents regarding the decision taken by National Cabinet to have the schools reopening. And also having engaged even with certain schools themselves. Will the department consider taking any legal action to ensure that the schools can remain open? And have we looked also at the possible costing of that particular legal action? Then I also see on page 74.
Then asking 2 questions now.
Okay.
The first question is not pertaining to this appropriation, but it is out there, so the department can respond, but I'm not allowing you a second one.
Okay.
Member Kama.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mine, Chair, I think is a follow-up to what you had asked earlier. I just want to get a sense with regards to the 310 million for PPEs. I just want to check how much is spent on decontamination when a positive case is identified at a school. Perhaps if maybe the department is not able to make a resolution where we were able to get a detailed breakdown of spending in these PPEs. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Member Allen.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm partly covered by your question and previous members regarding the PPE, but on page, let me select a question, on page 73. Regarding the human resource allocation that has also been reduced, whether the HOD can enlighten the committee or provide information regarding any measures that has been taken to equip and develop teachers. I'm aware of the online platform, which I found very interesting. There's courses, for example, in terms of the digital knowledge construction tools, which then aim to introduce teachers to digital tools used to acquire, construct, and share knowledge. But if the HOD can just broaden and share with the committee in terms of measures taken to equip teachers during this time. Thank you.
Member Christians.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just a question. The PPEs, did the department consider, I'm just thinking now about the money spent on PPEs, quintile 1 to 3 and quintile 4 to 5, those who can afford it. And I know these PPEs were given to all schools, but did the department walk the extra mile when it comes to the non-paying schools? I know the minister said, there is the norms and standards, but I just want to know, with the poor, really poor schools, do you go the extra mile to secure more, PPEs for them and to assist them? Because I know they only get a certain amount, and then they can use their norms and standards to get others. My question is, do you at least, if there's a need in those quintile 1 to 3, do you go the extra mile? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Mackenzie.
Thank you, Chairperson. So I want to find out from the Minister, did either the Minister of Education, because I haven't seen the full regulation yet, or the President of the NCCC, did they give the MECs countrywide any scientific evidence for the closure of schools, or any scientific research for the closure of schools, except for the announcement last night? And then secondly, obviously in what I've seen...
Are you asking a second question?
Second question, yes. And second question...
You're only allowed one, sir. Sorry.
Okay.
And your first question is also not pertaining to the appropriation, but I'll leave it up to the SG.
To appropriation because it's got financial implications for the year going forward.
The Minister, actually, not the SG on that
one. The Minister.
Okay, Minister, SG, your responses, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I take the first two, SG?
Minister, please do.
Yes, generally I would not answer questions that are not related to the appropriation, but I shall do so in the situation. Honourable Syed, yes, there are some parents who are not happy with the schools opening. There are equally a lot of parents who are not happy with the schools closing. So the answer to your question is we haven't taken a decision either way at the moment because Honourable Mackenzie, we haven't had any gazette yet. So at the moment, the legal position is exactly as it was before. So we're waiting to see what exactly is going to be gazetted. As far as the scientific evidence is concerned, there was scientific evidence in the exact opposite direction, that it's actually better for children to be in school, and that the justification, the Ministerial Advisory Committee, in fact, advised the Cabinet not to close schools completely. And some members of that committee have in fact come out today to say that exactly is what they told the Cabinet. So the scientific evidence has not shown, including the evidence we have collected over the last few weeks since the schools have reopened. The evidence that we have seen is not showing a spread at schools. Certainly not in any bigger proportion to infections in communities. Thank you, SG.
Thank you, Minister. Chair. If I can just start on the school closing issue, I this morning already wrote to schools to clarify a number of the issues that have not yet been resolved, because schools closed today. And if that happens, then clearly schools need to know what to do. Otherwise, there's a total chaos. So I wrote to them with clear indications and directions that are part of the conversations that I've been part of, and also part of sensible decisions that we believe make sense in the system. It's within the broad framework of the decisions that were taken. And already I've had quite a lot of positive feedback on the fact that we've responded quickly and been able to allay some of the issues that were there. Chair, let me take the PPE spending questions, and particularly the PPE or the hygiene package that we've procured has been millions of liters of volumes for all our schools. And Member Mackenzie is correct. We did, no, Member Christian is correct. We did order for all schools because health and safety, you don't want to play with giving some and not some, and then they say we haven't got this. So we've ordered for all schools. We ordered in proportion to the size of the school. In other words, small school, medium school, large school. We have ordered for every single child and every single employee in the department 2 masks. Now, they are so many that you can't deliver it in one go. The trucks can't deliver the millions of liters of 25 barrels of hand sanitizers or disinfectant or liquid soap, etc. to schools. So we've delivered that in 3 tranches, and we delivered sufficient for the teachers to go back, and then it was an ongoing delivery. The next group was there before learners came back. The next group of deliveries was before the large group was supposed to come back on the 3rd of August. So all of that is in place, but we are continuing to deliver, and I check twice a week with the procurement team a report on the schedules of delivery of the millions of liters. We've also ordered a supplementary amount because we've monitored the usage of hand sanitizers, particularly, and disinfectant, and we've ordered a supplementary order of those quantities, and that will be delivered over the next 2 months, maybe into 3 months still, because of the volumes that are ordered. So it is certainly intended to be able to cope for the rest of the year. We're also checking the amount of that. We have some spares ordered in the context of masks, because I know that some masks, dogs will eat them, they'll fall in the river, and etc. And we can't have anyone going to school without a mask or saying they can't go to school because there isn't a mask. So the question, though, is safety of the material. It is one of the reasons why we didn't deliver bulk. In the delivery of bulk, there's not enough storage space. Schools don't have enough storage. So that's why we've now actually, how shall I say, we've determined a measured approach to the ordering so that there's not too much at any given time. Because we are aware, of course, of the security issues. We had not planned on this break in school at the moment, but we have overnight, the moment we heard that there was going to be a school closure, we had put out a process of procuring extra security in our hotspot areas, identified hotspot schools, and there will be extra security. We have spoken to the Prof Joints and the Prof Jock, and in Cabinet today, Minister Schaefer raised the matter with the Police Commissioner that there must be vigilance and static support to schools, partly because of the PPEs that they need to be checked, although there's not large quantities in schools as a consequence. And I am acutely aware that this is a public meeting as well. Second, so I'm not going to share all the security issues. And secondly, we have also asked for regular patrols, vigilance, etc., around the possibility of PPEs for whatever use people think they could want them for, but also for the safety and security of schools during the break. Then, Minister, you've responded to the legislation, at least to the possible of legal action. I'm not going to comment on that. Member Kama, the decontamination. Now, decontamination is about 3,500 on average, a little less, a little more, depending where it is, whether it's rural, urban, etc. And because we had, and because we plan in the WCD and try our best, we've actually budgeted for the decontamination. We've understood that there's going to be a need, and so we've budgeted just under 20 million, 21 million, in fact, for decontamination. We hope it doesn't all need to get used, particularly as the infection is plateauing a little bit, and with a week or so's break, you also don't have to decontaminate. But we have put in place absolute overnight approval of every case where decontamination is necessary according to the protocol, and within a day after that, it can go back. So we've got about a 2-day turnaround in that context. I say again, the 310 million has already been spent just on the materials. The budget that we have has therefore not yet been met in this adjustment budget by quite a significant amount. Total funding allocation for this is about 470 million rand, if I remember correctly. Then, Member Allen, I'm going to ask Dr. Beers to speak to that. I just want to say that you know that in the digital world, we have been busy with an e-learning strategy for more than 5 years. And thousands of our teachers have gone through e-learning development programs over the last number of years. They've streamed to weekend sessions and holiday sessions. So we're very well placed in this province. And it is also noted, if you take a look at how many teachers have initiated a variety of options, WhatsApp communication, video lessons that they've made. And teachers also learn from teachers. So there's a lot that's been done besides, as you correctly said, also the formal programs that teachers can access online, and not just our teachers that access them as well. They obviously wide. I'm going to ask Dr. Beers to comment on that, Dr. Beers.
Chairperson and Honorable Alan, this COVID situation that we are experiencing has really forced our whole teacher corps to undergo a continuous teacher professional development, because it forced our teachers to rethink the way that they teach, because not all learners are at school, some of our learners are at home, and also the platforms that they are using. So yes, there was a lot of teacher professional development that has taken place in terms of integrating digital devices and digital platforms in the teaching. The CTLI itself, during the lockdown period, invited teachers to participate in one of their courses. It was planned for 600 teachers. In a blended mode, it was presented, but eventually 1,600 and I think nearly 680 teachers registered to do it. So that was definitely one of the areas in which there's continuous growth. As you've mentioned, on the digital platform, there's sort of self-help courses where teachers can help themselves from the platform. The lessons that our senior curriculum planners and subject advisors, the lessons that they have developed, in fact, in an indirect way, started to show teachers exactly how you plan teaching, focusing on core content and core skills, and especially the logical sequencing of the work. And we think it helped our teachers to deeper understand effective teaching in a minimum time, and also the integration of assessment that we have there. Then we also had webinars where teachers rethink what they are experiencing, and also the pedagogy that is needed in this new way that we are working. All our teachers has participated in mediation sessions that was conducted by senior curriculum planners, the revised curriculum that we have, and there we used Microsoft Teams to do that. So there was quite a number of new ways in which teacher professional development has taken place, and we hope and believe that this was a period of great growth for all our teachers. Much is done in that, and we still continue to find new ways to support our teachers in every way, every subject, every grade. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Beers. Chair, if I may just make a last comment to Member Christian's question. Whilst I'd indicated that we had procured for all schools because we did not want to have any challenges at all, we have also said that, and Mr. Eli made the comment that when we started to think about supplementary orders, he said, should we only order for quintile 1, 2, and 3? I said we could do that, but I'm cautious about the fact that we've not even reached peak of pandemic yet, and then maybe schools will say they don't have enough resources. So the supplementary is also for all schools. But we had also already informed schools, and we're strengthening that communication, that as we go forward, because COVID is going to be with us for 18 to 24 months, maybe longer, that schools now need to, in their normal operational budget, start planning for little bits of the kinds of equipment, just like they normally buy disinfectant for toilets or cleaning materials. They've now got to factor into their budget as part of their norms and standards money, which they get that percentage of money that's required also for the so-called PPEs going forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, SG. I just want to ascertain any members of the public on this platform who wish to pose a question or give input in regard to this appropriation. No, it seems not. Members, if you have a burning question that can't be put on the back burner, you may pose it now. Member Syed.
Chair, thank you. I've just got one. On page 74, I see that the private schools, the independent schools, are not getting a cut in budget, while there are other budget cuts. Can I maybe just get an explanation for that? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Karma.
Apologies, Chair. I was just writing on the chat. I'm covered by member side.
Thank you. SG, then to respond to that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The independent schools get a subsidy only, and that subsidy is based on a national formula that they get. Many of the independent schools that get subsidized, remember, are not the rich independent schools. It's not all private schools that get it. It's only those who qualify because of certain financial challenges. The majority of them that get subsidized poor learners. And therefore, from a fiscal or financial perspective, beneficial for them. It's not in the interest, therefore, to minimize it so that those independent schools serving poor communities then fold or have to let teachers off or something of that nature, which in any case is happening. So it's also small amounts for a small number of schools, and it's in that context that hasn't yet been cut. There where we have cut also, Chair, I just want to say, or there where there's been the initial adjustments in this adjustment budget, has been where we've actually tried to do a reduction that does not damage the delivery of the activity. And that we tried to identify where we could squeeze out a little bit of savings. And as I said, the majority of it comes from conditional grants that don't have control over the decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much, SG. With that then, members, I'm going to close the round now for questions. And I want to say, Minister, do you want to do some closing remarks, SG, before we conclude?
Just to say thank you for the questions and the engagement, and also to our officials who've been working extremely hard, even during the lockdown, trying to get all these things in place for our schools to try and ensure that they're as safe as possible. But other than that, thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Minister. Chair, from my side, ditto. Appreciation also for the engagement, and I'm always very appreciative of the nature of this engagement, which I appreciate greatly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SG Minister. With that said, thank you very much to you for your availability and answering our questions that we had put forward to you. I just note that the money man, the CFO, was very quiet in this appropriation Q&A. Mr. Eli, I know that you are there and you have juggled the numbers, so thank you very much. With that said, I want to say, excuse me?
He's too depressed.
With that said, thank you very much to you, Minister, SG, and to the officials within your department that was present. Members, we say goodbye to the department, and please keep yourself safe out there. So we are saying goodbye to you. Members, please stay behind to conclude on our administrative tasks pertaining to this committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Take care.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair. Bye-bye.
Members, any recommendations? No recommendations? No requests for info? I see Honorable Kama.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to make a recommendation, Chair, that maybe through you and Wasima, we identify, if you look on page 79, in that table of the expenditure for infrastructure, if we can identify any of those schools that are meant to be complete, any of the projects that are meant to be complete for a visit in the future program of our committee.
Okay, all right. That is a fair recommendation. So we can look at it, Member Kama.
Thank you very much.
Wasima, you caught that?
Yes, Chair, I've got that. I'll add it to the program
and
to the minutes of the meeting.
Okay. All the recommendations, members, will be added to the minutes of the meeting. Okay, and not to the report. So it leaves me now to then read the draft committee report. And I'm reading report of the Standing Committee on Vote 5, Education in the Schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation, COVID-19 Bill 2020-21 financial year, B4 of 2020, dated 24 July 2020, as follows. The Standing Committee on Education, having deliberated on the subject of Vote 5, Education in the Schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation COVID-19 Bill 2020-2021 financial year, B4 of 2020, referred to the committee in accordance with Standing Rule 188, report that it supports the vote or does not support the vote. Members, I take your hands on this. Member Allen.
Chairperson, I move that we as a committee support.
Okay.
Chairperson, I second that. Gillian Postman.
Thank you. Member Said.
Chair, I would like to express the minority view on behalf of the African National Congress that we don't support the vote.
Oh, okay. Members, Member Christians, I note your hand.
Thank you, Chair. I support the vote. I thought the ANC is going to support it this time because, I mean, the questions were answered quite sufficiently by the SG. So I'm a bit disappointed in my ANC colleagues, but that's fine. Thank you, Chair.
Our rationale will come in the debate.
Okay. Members, I'm not going to open up the debate for you now. Member Allen, please lower your hand, as well as Member Christians. Members. Then I read the committee report that would go through as follows then. The draft committee report. Report of the Standing Committee on Vote 5, Education in the Schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation COVID-19 Bill 2020-2021 financial year, B4 of 2020, dated 24 July 2020, as follows. The Standing Committee on Education, having deliberated on the subject of Vote 5, Education in the Schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation, COVID-19 Bill 2020-2021 financial year, B4 of 2020, referred to the committee in accordance with Standing Rule 188, reports that it supports the vote. In accordance with Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress expressed its minority view to not support the vote. Members, that is then the report that would go through. That then leads me to say, members, thank you very much for your availability and for the questions that you have posed. Please go well and be safe. This standing committee meeting is now adjourned. Member Mackenzie?
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson. We also wish Member Mackenzie a very good weekend.